Hello and welcome to my 2025 reading tier list ranking video. This will surely be one of the shortest tier ranking videos in the history of tier ranking videos. I'm not sure if my reading list actually deserves a tier ranking video, but I wanted an opportunity to review all of the books that I read, and this seems like a good way to do it.
I'm going to add another row to this because I want to have the equivalent of an F tier. Add row below. Also going to make it red, and I'm actually going to change D. Well, let's start with S. S tier is rereading material because I think the mark of a good book is if you want to read it a second time. For A, I'm just going to do a solid 5 stars. It's a 5-star read. B, I'm going to do the old Abby Lee. It was good. I'm waiting for it to be great. For C, I'm going to do I Get It, but I didn't like it. D, F is going to be finished, but at what cost? And D is going to be for DNF'd because I actually didn't finish a lot of books this year, and it doesn't necessarily mean that they're not good books. Like, it could be for a variety of reasons that I didn't finish a book. And I usually do end up going back to finish most books that I don't finish. It's more of like an attention span problem than anything. It says more about me than the book. Okay, and here are my books. I have total of 14 books, but I only finished 7 of them, which is not great. So I did DNF a lot of books, but I do also plan to go back and finish at least some of them. So the first book here we have is The Talented Mr. Ripley. I'm putting this in F. I wanted to like this. I watched the movie before I read the book, and the movie left me feeling very conflicted. It's a very beautiful movie, has really great actors, has Matt Damon and Cate Blanchett and Jude Law. It's kind of raunchy in a way that the book actually isn't, but I just could, this book left me feeling so icky and disgusting because it's written from the perspective of Tom Ripley, who is a psychopath murderer, and spoiler, he gets away with it in the end. And I think that's just really not a good ending to the story. There's actually more books in this series, and I can't imagine reading them or wanting to read them because I was just so put off by the tone of this book. I don't know. I thought Tom was a really peevish narrator. I didn't like him. I kind of hated this book. Next we have Ashley Flowers, The Missing Half. This is going in DNF'd. I listened to maybe half of the audiobook of this. I am familiar with Ashley Flowers as a podcaster, but apparently she's from my area, and this book is set in the town next to mine. And so I was really curious to read her depiction of it. And it made me feel like she hasn't lived here in a while. And it also seemed like the depiction of Mishawaka from the perspective of somebody who's from South Bend. She describes it as a small town, but also accurately describes the main business corridor as having hundreds of businesses, and it's just kind of I don't know, choose one. I didn't really connect with the characters in this book, and I really was annoyed by the narrator. I know she was supposed to be having a difficult time emotionally. I was very put off by her as well. I guess I just really didn't like some of the characters in these books this year. I don't think I'm going to go back and finish this one. I'm a little bit intrigued by what happened to the missing girls, but I'm not dying to find out. I just don't think this was that well written. Next up we have A Month in the Country by J.L. Carr. I'm putting this in 5 stars. This was a very pleasant read. It's not a very long book. I think it has some really lovely depictions of humans and relationships. My one beef with it is that a large part of the plot focuses around this like emotional affair between two of the characters, and I just can't condone that. The Enchanted April. I am also putting this in 5 stars. This was just a charming little story. It's set in Spezia, Italy. It's about 4 women who go and rent a castle together to get away from England during dreary March and April. It's funny, it's very sweet. I loved it. Next up is I Capture the Castle. This is going in rereading material. I loved this book. I can't believe I waited so long to read it. I thought it was hilarious and touching and sweet, and just a poignant just depiction of girlhood and relationships. I just loved it so much. Next we have Pride and Prejudice. I DNF'd Pride and Prejudice. Would you believe it? I actually did not find it that difficult to read. I know a lot of people are like, Pride and Prejudice is so difficult to read. I grew up reading the King James version of the Bible, so the like syntax and the speech in Pride and Prejudice really doesn't faze me. And I already know the story. I loved the 1994 adaptation of the book, and it's extremely true to the book, like down to the minute details in the dialogue and stuff. So I really felt like I have read it already. I will go back and finish it at some point. I just didn't get around to it this year. Part of that was I was trying to film a read Pride and Prejudice with me for the first time video, and I just petered out. And so every time I went to pick it up, I was like, I don't feel like filming, and I don't want to read it unless I'm filming. So that was just a bad idea on its face. I haven't read anything else by Jane Austen either, but I also want to hold off on like watching Emma, for instance. I haven't seen Emma. I would like to read Emma before I see Emma to avoid falling into the same pitfalls. But I have seen Sense and Sensibility already, so hopefully I will finish Pride and Prejudice in 2026, and maybe I'll get to reading Emma or Sense and Sensibility or one of the other novels by Jane Austen. Next we have Airs Above the Ground by Mary Stuart. I'm actually going to put this in It Was Good, I'm Waiting for It to Be Great. I love Mary Stuart. Her book, 9 Coaches Waiting, is one of my favorite novels of all time. And I've read, I think, 4 or 5 of her novels now, and this one just wasn't my favorite. It felt a little bit formulaic, like I could almost start to see through the like mystery of it all. I will say Mary Stuart writes great action sequences. Like there was a part at the end that had me on the edge of my seat. And also this one was fun because usually her books revolve around single young women and there's like a romance, and the girl in this book is already married. So it's like a different dynamic where she's just like in love with her husband. It was very cute. Next we have The God of the Woods. I'm also going to put this in It Was Good, I'm Waiting for It to Be Great. I listened to this and I think I really did enjoy it as a listening experience, but if I had read this, I think it would have dragged because it's written from many different point of views. It's also written in present tense, both of which are kind of pet peeves of mine. And listening kind of took the edge off of the annoyance. But there's one character who like a lot of the narration revolves around, and her story really started to drag at some point. However, I did enjoy this. I thought it was like a pretty well thought out mystery, and I thought the resolution was also like fairly good. Like it was satisfactory. It wasn't like I don't think it was perfect, but I think it fit the story. Okay, next we have Toxic Empathy by Allie Beth Stuckey. I DNF'd this. I also was listening to this as an audiobook. This was recommended to me by a friend, and I decided to give it a go, and I wasn't in the right headspace to listen to it at the time, and then my loan lapsed. So I didn't finish it. I might go back and finish it at some point. I think I probably agree with Allie Beth Stuckey on a lot of her points here. So I don't know that I need to, like, it's not going to change my mind. I also avoid a lot of political discourse, so I'm not necessarily going to be needing to like argue these points with anybody, and I think I know my own position, so I don't know if I'm going to go back and finish this one. And my camera died when I'm back. Next up we have A Room with a View. This is going in rereading material. I really wasn't sure if I was going to like this when I started it because, and this is one of the reasons that I'm not going to DNF permanently all of the books that I started reading, because within the first couple chapters of this book, I developed a very different idea about some of the characters than I ended up having in the end, and I ended up really, really liking it. I need to reread this just for kind of like the philosophy of the story. I was really focused on reading about the plot in this first pass, but there's a lot of discussion amongst the characters about love and relationships and like all other sorts of things, travel, etc., that I would like to go back and pay a little bit more attention to in a future read. I actually finished this last night, like a half hour before midnight. It's New Year's Day when I'm filming this. Oh, I have a second cover of Airs Above the Ground. I should delete that. How do I delete that? I don't know if I can delete that. Anyway, okay. Farewell to Arms. This is going in DNF. I read like the first couple chapters of this. I bought it in Paris and then put it down and haven't picked it up again yet, but I do want to read it. I think I actually watched the old film adaptation of this with Gary Cooper once a long time ago, so I think I might already know a little bit of what happens in it. This is my first Hemingway, and my first impression was that I liked his writing style, but then after like the first couple of pages I was kind of like put off by it. So we'll see what I think of it in the end. I'm not sure where I'm going to fall on this. I also listened to Blood Meridian. I got about halfway through and I DNF'd it. I was really trying to stick it out because I've heard so many people speak highly of it online. If I did finish it, I'm pretty sure it would end up in tier C. I like it. I get it, but I didn't like it. Like, I understand what Cormac McCarthy is trying to do by creating this, like, hellscape of a story about the American West and how it was brutal and dreadful. But, like, after a while, being hit in the face over and over and over again with, like, inhumane brutality, I start to zone out and not really feel it as much. I think Cormac McCarthy is a good writer. I'm kind of curious about some of his other stories. I know he wrote the book No Country for Old Men that the movie's based on. I thought the movie was really interesting, but this one just wasn't for me. And if I had to sum it up in a sentence, I wrote on Twitter that it was if G.A. Henty was a nihilist, because that's the vibe it gave me. Okay, and finally we have Tom Lake by Ann Patchett. I also DNF'd this, but for good reason. I started it on vacation. It was among the books available to read at our Airbnb in Maine. I picked it up and I really liked it, and then we had to leave, so I couldn't take it with me. But I did go and buy my own copy of it, and I'm looking forward to reading it, the rest of it, in 2026. I tried to listen to The Dutch House once by Ann Patchett. It was the audiobook narrated by Tom Hanks, and no offense to Tom Hanks, he's an amazing actor, but he does not have a voice for narration, so I was like, I can't do that for 10 hours. So this is my first time reading or really getting into a book by Ann Patchett, and I think she's a really good writer. This book so far has left me really interested in the play Our Town, and I feel like that's the hallmark of a good writer, that they can make you interested in something you knew nothing about previously. This was a pretty small reading list overall, and considering that I only finished about half of these, I'm not super proud of that, but I did choose each one of these with intentionality, and I was not reading for the sake of reading or hitting a goal, but actually just trying to find books that I would enjoy and really like, and reading thoughtfully. And I did find a couple of books that were introductions to authors that I hope to read more of in the new year, like Ann Patchett, also E.M. Forster. I have a combined copy of A Room with a View, Howard's End, and then another book by him. So I might read Howard's End next year. I haven't decided yet. I might follow this video up with a reading list for 2026 soon, so stay tuned. Tell me if you've read any of these books, what you thought of them, and if you agree with my rankings. I'd love to hear from you.